Over the past 5 years, Americans have grown increasingly prejudiced against a wide range of different demographic groups, which is sad to admit, but the evidence is there. Let's look at the results of a public religion research group study showing that more than 1 in 5, 22% of Americans, say small businesses should be able to refuse to serve Muslims on religious grounds. Men in this particular case are more likely than women to agree, with 25% of men, a full quarter of all men saying, if it's a Muslim, you don't have to serve them if you don't want to. So that's one particular aspect of religious prejudice, but it's now up to 19% from 12% just a few years ago who say it's fine to deny service to Jewish Americans, and 15% up from 10% a few years ago saying it's acceptable to deny service to African Americans. So this is both religious but also racial prejudice that is not only higher than we would want or possibly expect, but raising over the past few years.
Yeah, and all of those homophobic people of color who were in full support. Do you remember when Marcus Bachmann was in, Michelle Bachmann were talking about religious freedom? Do you remember, this was a long time ago, but Marcus Bachmann, always on my mind, but they were saying like, no, yeah, it's a Christian thing, you should be able to. And so many smart people were saying, no, watch that, because that's gonna trickle down to you. And it seems that's crazy. You can't say you can't sell a black person a cake. They'll try.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And not that you even have to like say it'll happen to you, so you don't do something bad to them. But my point is just duh.
How are we saying increasing though?
Right.
Increasing, I think they feel more supported in their ideologies. The only difference is that the KKK went to Bed Bath & Beyond and traded in their sheets for tiki torches. And they went to Men's Warehouse and asked for the Lindsey Graham special. But other than that, these are the same people that have always been here. I think the most dangerous thing is that we have abandoned the promise of separation of church and state, and we continue to pretend that it's about religious values, but it isn't, because when you look at even conversation around pro-life, but then we have these children at the border and these families and their lives don't matter.
Yeah.
So it's
also these people who put their religion and say that, this is my reason why I want to do this and that, they don't act personally as if they've ever read the Bible. That's like they don't. These like are evil people that don't act at all like they live by the Bible. So definitely not the New Testament. I don't know. I just think that I don't. This is duh, yeah. But it's frustrating.
I'm mainly joking, and you'd never do this. Totally wouldn't be constitutional or anything. But like imagine if I said that I was a big fan of Harry Potter, but I think that like Hogwarts is dumb. I don't like Hufflepuff. Wizardry is stupid. Am I really a fan of it, or am I just saying that because it's popular? At a certain point, you can't be like a devoted adherent to the Bible just when it comes to not giving people cakes. At a certain point, you kind of have to care if the kids are dying, or if refugees are coming to your borders and you're telling them to go F themselves. Have you really read it?
And then especially when they're talking about like advising people from the church not to go to Pride. And it's like kids are safer at Pride than they are in some of these Catholic churches. So like how is it that, we're looking at these communities like demonizing? It's really scary because it reminds me of what took place in Germany right before the Holocaust. And people are really upset when you mention that because they're like, wait, don't compare that to Hitler. Don't compare that to, as we see with AOC, she's getting like a lot of fire about calling them concentration camps. But the thing is that we're seeing history play out right before our eyes. And if we continue to be inactive and indifferent and lean into apathy, we're gonna be very sorry sooner than we think.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. A group of people a large majority of people who felt like it's not my problem because it's not happening to me. Or I'm not a monster, I'm just not gonna do anything about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to give too much credit to one person, but when AOC started talking about that, and everyone, like not everyone, but a lot of people on the right were like, how dare you say that? And then some of the people who despise literally everything that she says are like, oh God, how stupid is she? Look at how much of a fool she made herself. Well, she called them concentration camps, and in the week since then, the head of Border Patrol is stepping down. Billions of dollars are being routed over there. Reporters are starting to show up again. Doctors are doing investigations of the conditions the kids are being held under. Like, this is a pretty significant reframing of the debate and getting people interested once again in a bad situation. So Thank you, AOC is long and short of it. I wanna give you just a couple more numbers because there are other groups that are much hated in this country. And I wanna show you, by the way, that while it is definitely a problem of Republicans, Democrats responding to this poll also have some issues. Republicans are more than twice as likely as Democrats to support religiously based refusals to serve gay or lesbian people. That's 47% Republican, 18% Democrat. Transgender people, 44% Republican, 19% Democrat. Atheists at 37 and 17, and Muslims at 32 and 14. So look, having half of Republicans say that amongst lesbian and transgender people, the rights should be formalities at most. But Democrats, you got almost 1 in 5 saying the same thing. Holding, if we can identify that as a horrendous belief, for a person on Fox and Friends to hold, we shouldn't hold it. 1 out of 5 of Democrats should not hold that position either.
This is why I'm always dragging people within the party sometimes, because it's this idea that it's solely partisan, but it isn't. It's based on people's values and beliefs. And I think that my own experience as a Black trans woman, quite personally, there were more Democrats in my way who were at the helm of some of these organizations and conversations that could have brought about a shift in the social ecology, and they did not. I really don't have that many Republicans in proximity to me. So I think it is a conversation about the way that we have Republicans who are closeted progressives, and then we have Democrats who are closeted conservative-minded people that are only about lining their pockets and making it convenient for them.
Yeah.
We also have to continue to keep separate basic humanity and politics.
Right.
And
Which
this is shocking to people because those numbers and how it's not 0 on the Democratic lines is shocking to people, some people out there. And I think people just, when you talk to them, no, not us. Yeah, because racism and homophobia and actual religious freedoms, like being able to wear a burqa, those have nothing to do with politics. So there are people who are racist on both sides. Of course, yeah. There are people who hate Black people and Trump. There are yeah, that happens every day.
Yeah, that is the case.